I'm very happy and very honored that I am able to come to Cairo to present to you this lecture on the nature of dreams, because that is something that I am highly anxious to present, because it was a paper by C.G. Jung that was presented in the year, as you can see here, 1945. That is exactly 80 years before our time, and he presented that paper at the end of World War II. And World War II was a catastrophe for humanity, because a whole cultured nation, namely Germany, was possessed by something much greater than they were as human beings. It was something demonic that was possessing humanity for this World War II, and millions and millions and millions of young soldiers and wives and children were destroyed by this catastrophe. And C.G. Jung was writing this paper with the same title, On the Nature of Dreams, an article that you can find in the Collected Works, Volume 8, on page 530. Now, if you go to the Collected Works and want to read this article, you will find it has no illustrations. And by a sheer coincidence, I found the original paper that was published in a journal of Basel Chemistry. At that time, it was named ZIBA. It was in the ZIBA, a journal, internal journal of this company. And Jung published this article together with a number of highly impressive pictures. And I am very happy that I am able to present to you this article. It will not be that I will read you the article. I will just summarize some of Jung's thoughts. But what I will present to you is the article with pictures. And I will show you why it is so important that we honor C.G. Jung properly when he wrote such a groundbreaking paper. Now I will tell you what we will go to look at. And inshallah, I will be able to present you this next, let me see. I'm trying to come to the next, let me see how you Bildschirm. You know, the devil is very technophile. He loves technique.
Go away, devil.
Don't worry, I will find out.
You may press the arrow to the right.
Yes. Ah, okay. Oh, there are people who know these things. Yeah, I can see what you mean. Haha.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, now here is the overview of the lecture, so that you know what you are going to be confronted with. I have to first introduce myself, because you have to know how I made my experience with dreams, because without this it might be a little bit hollow, because it all is based on experience. And I can assure you, when I present you the first point, that when I was looking at what dreams did in my life, I can only say it was a miracle how I was guided through my life. And I am now 78 years old. And when I look back, I was just continuously stumbling behind myself. This is the first point. Now, second point will be the knowledge of nature's spirit. The third thing is what will interest you most is the art of understanding dreams. It's really an art, and it's not really only a science, but C.G. Jung once named the dream understanding almost a science. But he was cautious. He said it's almost a science. It's really also an art. And then come practical examples. I will share with you some dreams that I collected for today. And then in the fifth point, I will point to you the way of the dream by Marie-Louise von Franz, to honor this lady in the same way as I tried to honor C.G. Jung, because Marie-Louise von Franz was the key collaborator with C.G. Jung, and she created wonderful dream, what you call short dream television presentations, as one could properly say, and they are on YouTube. You will find them there. And then I make a summary and conclusion, and then that is what I am trying to present today. And you will see I will try to make a break after point 3. Probably it will be that we will not get a spiritual diarrhea. I want to just schweier, just go slowly. I will hasten slowly that you are able to absorb what I'm trying to communicate. So I will now continue with this one. I have the first point that dreams not rarely prepare new creation. And I can tell you that my personal experience is all about this. And when I was trying to look back on my life, I was sort of amazed who was dreaming me, who was guiding my life through all these abysses of difficulties and of despair and all that. And I can tell you that in 1966, after I just finished my gymnasium, that is my matura, as you call, or baccalaureate, or whatever it is named in your country, I had my quest for orientation, because I felt that, my God, I did not get an answer to my questions. I must search for remarkable people who give me orientation in my life, because I felt this dry gymnasium with all these grammar and all these mathematics and all that what I had to learn was not giving me an orientation for my life. And so I started to travel to the Orient. I went to India and East Asia and was going to search for remarkable people in different places in Iran, in Afghanistan, in India, in Tibet, in Nepal, not Tibet, but in Nepal, in a Tibetan monastery. And I was going with Indian sadhu. I was walking with him barefoot and all that. And I was having almost no money, but I continued and came to Japan, to Zen monastery, and I came back to Indonesia, Ceylon, and so on. I was looking for orientation, but then I went back to Switzerland after 13 months of traveling, and I realized now I have to go and find something basic. I want to know about nature, and I studied at ETH, agricultural engineering and Jung's psychology parallel. These two things went hand in hand, and I had remarkable dreams when I made my thesis, my master thesis in Salzburgenthal, and I went to have my first assignment for economic, all over economic conceptual planning for Canton Uri. That's a county in Switzerland, in central Switzerland. And I was able to work with Dr. von Franz on my dreams, and she suggested, when I finished my studies at the Jung Institute in Küsnacht, and first in Zurich and then in Küsnacht, and I was then asked by Dr. von Franz to write my the diploma thesis about my dreams and the projects of my master thesis and of my development planning in Uri. And you can imagine how I felt. My God, I have to write about my own dreams, my thesis, and I felt that is a no-go. I felt I am, they will just laugh at me and I will be just ridiculed and all that. But Dr. von Franz insisted and said, no, don't worry, just do it. And then I wrote my thesis, that is just 50 years ago. Just we have an anniversary this year of this diploma thesis. And then I got a prize even, and this encouraged me to write my PhD thesis, also with both my dreams and my habilitation. And I could, after that, have regular lectures at ETH about archetypal dreams with regard to the environment problems. And I was a professor at ETH for 32 years and able to lecture on these archetypal dreams with regard to our environment problems. And then you can see it was always the dreams that pushed me to the next and to the next and to the next. And I saw that first came the color project that was coming first, namely the Corpus Alchemicum Arabicum, where I came to for the first time to Egypt I had to learn Arabic, and I tried to understand these alchemical texts with the help of Salva Furt. I will come back to her. And then when I was starting to come regularly to Egypt, I realized that we have to create the Society of Friends of Royal Tombs of Egypt. And then it was all dreams that always suggested I should do that. And then in 1992, I had a dream that we should create this Center for Depth Psychology according to C.G. Jung and Marie-Louise von Franz. And then I had also some dreams that suggested I should study Egyptology already, being 50 years old, and I could study with Professor Erik Hornung, and I'll come back to that also. So you see, my whole life was just, I don't know, maybe somebody was dreaming me, because I could never have figured out this whole project or this whole life. It was like stumbling behind my dreams, and this is what allows me to give you now a further deepening of the art of dream understanding. But let me first go back to some pictures namely here the first picture that was in the article of C.G. Jung. That is an amazing picture, and it was just suppressed. It was not available in the collected works of C.G. Jung, and I am deeply sad about it, but I can understand that, of course, the collected works was a huge work, and they felt it was not necessary to bring these pictures. That's why I bring them now to you, and you have above you have the German caption of this picture, but it's all about, and I will show you the detail of it. Without the caption, you will see it was a picture from 1581 that was in a book that was in the possession of C.G. Jung. And here is the big picture, and you see La notte col sogno, that is the night with a dream. And here you have an allegory of the night. That is the allegory of the night. And you see she has two babies. One baby is a black one, and one baby is a white one. One baby is the death, and one baby is the night as a sleep. And you see, when she holds the night sleep, the dream is appearing here, and this is an allegory of the dream coming to human beings, and very, very important, and I cannot emphasize this enough. The dream has two hands, and in one hand he has a stick of ivory, and in the other hand he has a horn that gives the good luck and that brings all the wealth that human beings can collect. And these are the two sides of each dream. It can destroy us, or it can be a boon, or it can be benevolent. It depends on consciousness, and we know that people who are in the crazy asylum, they are also having dreams, but they are possessed by dreams. They cannot distinguish the life of a human being and the archetypal world of the beyond. And this is the first picture that Jung was putting in his article, just as a caution, to be cautious with regard to dreams. We cannot be careful enough in relating to the dream world, and I'll come back to that also. Now, the next one is something I wanted to show you that you might like, because it's from the Islamic culture. It's a wonderful picture by a painter from Iran, Hussein Bahzad, and he is a wonderful painter, and he has made so beautiful pictures. And you see the loving couple here, and the man is pointing here to the secret of it all, namely through the closed vessel. And what do we see in the closed vessel? That is here to be seen. It's not very sharp, but you can see what's all about. It's the mystery of the conjunction, the union of the male and the female in the retort, in the symbolic understanding of what it is all about. The unconscious needs to be understood symbolically and not concretely. And I mentioned to you the Nazi movement of World War II, and they were possessed by something archetypal. The Nazis were possessed by blood and by the ancestors, and by the ancestors and the blood, and that was a tragedy. They had even a passport where you had to declare who were your ancestors, and if some of your ancestors were Jews, you had to be transported to the concentration camps, and so on. They were trying to do what should be done symbolically. They tried to have it concretely, and that was the tragedy of Nazism. And it continues to be a problem because we always try to concretize things that should be understood symbolically. And here the man points to his beloved, to the essence of relationship. The essence of relationship has to be transformed from the concrete to the symbolic. It's a wonderful picture. And here I am showing to you something that you might like to see, namely the creation of the facsimile of the tomb of Tutankhamun. You know that I had, this is my highly respected teacher of Egyptology, who was starting to have, again, basic lectures for just Theo Abt, because he said, well, if you come to study Egyptology with me, I start all over again. And so I could study with him Egyptology. And here you see Tarek Valley, the architect who created this tomb facsimile. Here you see the walls of it, and you can see there is a book that is published. Professor Alia or Samah will be able to show you how it goes, but you can also go to my website or to Wikipedia, you see all these books. And now I am continuing. We had created this Center for Depth Psychology, and you see we have a logo in the Center of Depth Psychology. And when we created that in 1994, that was 4 years later, this book appeared, and it was about Jung and synchronicity and the paranormal, and they chose the same logo as we have in our center for the creation of the new light, for the creation of what it is all about, namely the creation of a new consciousness. Now we continue. I would like to honor my dear translation lady in Egypt. Thanks to her, I was more than 100 times in Egypt. Mind you, 100, over 100 times I was in Egypt, not only for the Arabic alchemy, but also for the exhibition, the Dawn of the Human Spirit, and afterwards Quest for Immortality. And Salva Fort was having an incredible dream, you know, when we met first. It was in 87, in springtime of 87. And of course, as I was already in 87, I was of course already quite a long time a Jungian analyst working with the dreams of people. So I asked Salva also, did you have any dreams that is remarkable? And she said, yeah, well, I had repeatedly a dream when I was a child, and I dreamt that I was walking alone in a forest. It was springtime, and I cannot, yeah, I should bring that a little bit to the side. Never mind, you can read it probably. It was springtime, and the sun was shining through the still open foliage of the trees. I see yellow spots on the earth, and when I look closer to the earth, I realize that these spots on the earth are all gold coins that I can collect. Now, when I told this dream, when I came back, of course, the first thing we did when I came back from Egypt from the first time, I always went for 3 weeks to Egypt and then came back, and then I came back for 3 weeks again in autumn, and then 3 weeks again in January, 3 weeks again in spring. So all these years, 3 times 3 weeks, and then for Quest for Immortality, extra times to the Egyptian Museum and so on. But now I would like to tell you what Dr. von Franz, who was my guiding lady all through my life as an analyst and before that also. Dr. von Franz was just simply delighted over this dream, as this is a well-known alchemical motif, namely that the sun is weaving gold into the earth. Wow. I was shocked when she told me that, and it was over a dinner that we had right when I came back from Egypt. She was delighted. And then, of course, the gold coins, it's a creation of consciousness of the self. It's a self-realization step by step. She has to collect all these gold coins, and she has a task in her life, namely to collect these gold coins, because many people have beautiful childhood dreams or great archetypal dreams, but they think they are already great by having great dreams, and that is the biggest error you can ever have, because to have great dreams means nothing yet. It's only a possibility, and if you are honest to your initial vision or your initial great dream and try to understand it and try to really create consciousness out of this great vision or great dream, only then you can realize the self. It is a true self-realization by constant work, and that is what is the alchemical work all about. It has nothing to do with creating gold concretely, but it's a creation of symbolic gold, and these gold coins are this symbol for these symbolic steps that create a self-realization in time. So you see, now we continue. Now comes knowledge of nature's spirit. Now fasten your seatbelts, please, because we are now going right to Egypt, and I am speaking now about Thoth Mercurius. Thoth was the culture bringer. He brought the hieroglyphs to the Egyptian culture, and thanks to that we have the first half of human history was written down in Egypt, and Thoth is his culture bringer, and Mercurius is then the messenger god of the Greek culture and of the Roman culture, and together Thoth Mercurius is that spirit of the unconscious that is guiding us through our lives, and who is providing us with dreams and with insights that are much bigger than ourselves. I just have to remind you of all the great discoveries in chemistry, in physics, in different sciences. For instance, Mendeleev, the discoverer of the chart of the elements, he had a big dream, and you can read up this dream of Mendeleev, this Russian chemist who contributed so much to the knowledge of matter. This is the first point I want to point out here. And now the second point is dreams played a major role in pharaonic Egypt. And I told you that I'm so honored that I'm allowed to give back or bring back something of my work with Salva Fuad and my work with Dr. von Franz with regard to the dream and dream interpretation. That I just want to tell you that Yusuf, the dream interpreter of the Pharaoh, that you can also read up in as Yusuf in the Quran, this was really an essence of pharaonic culture, because I remember Sigrid Hodel. She was a member of our Society of the Friends of the Royal Tombs of Egypt. She was preparing to write a thesis of habilitation about the dream culture of Pharaonic Egypt. I couldn't reach her. She was very sick. I hope she has not passed away in between, but I am definitely highly honored that she was giving this attention to the pharaonic dream interpretation. And you know, some of the dreams of the Sphinx, of Thutmose III, and so on and so forth. It is amazing what we have as a major role in the culture of pharaonic Egypt. And you know that the pharaonic culture is the only culture in the world who was sustainable for more than 3,000 years. It could renew itself biistimrar, constantly. They could renew itself, and you can really see that pharaonic culture is a role model for humanity today, because it's the only culture that had the goddess of sustainability. And when I told that at ETH, at my lectures on dreams, on the archetypal dreams with regard to the environment problem, I told the students about this, that pharaonic Egypt had a goddess of sustainability. I can tell you, all the ladies in the auditorium were charmed, and they asked me, "What is this goddess?" And I told them, it's Maat. It's Maat, the goddess of sustainability. She is the goddess of the constitution of humanity. That is, the constitution of humanity needs to have a goddess of sustainability, and this notion of the constitution of humanity, this comes from a professor from St. Gallen, Philip Thomas. The name skipped away, because you know my memory is no more what it used to be. But anyway, it is. I quoted him in the book of Tutankhamun, and it is right there. And he created this wording of the constitution of humanity, and he said, "This is Maat, the constitution of humanity." And you can see from this, it's honoring the pharaonic culture. But what I would like to come now to is that next point, that you can see that Jung was writing this article, this paper on the nature of dreams in 1945. 1945, just 80 years ago. It's a tribute to this article that has not been published with pictures of Jung's original. So I hope we can really close this lacuna. Now, what he writes in this article is difficult to read, as I heard from people who were trying to read this article. It's really not easy, and it's not an easy reading. And the first picture, as I showed you already, is this allegory of the knight and the dream, who comes with the two hands, with the pole of ivory and the horn of blessings, filled with blessings. Now, when it comes to these dreams, I would like to just draw your attention to a few things. First of all, I would like to draw your attention to that approach of C.G. Jung, who was so wise with regard to the dreams, that he said, when we approach a dream, we have to approach it completely open, not with a closed theory. You know, when it comes to Sigmund Freud, who was a fatherly friend to C.G. Jung, who was highly adoring C.G. Jung. He wanted to make C.G. Jung his successor and so on. But Jung was not able to accept the closed theory of Sigmund Freud or later Alfred Adler. But he said, you know, a dream is something enigmatic from nature. We do not know what it is. We have not to impose a theory over the dream. We don't imprison the dream in a theory. And he used a beautiful simile that I just loved when I was working for this lecture. That was some 2 weeks ago, I guess. You know, since I know that I have to have this lecture, I have quite often rather sleepless nights because I was thinking, am I able to do justice to the pharaonic culture, to Egypt with my lecture? My God, I was a little bit shaky. And it was on a Sunday afternoon, and I was having a little cigar to have my smoke ritual, and I was having this smoke ritual to celebrate, to calm me down and so on. And then it was sunshine, rather rare in January to have sunshine. I used to be in Egypt in January, but now I'm in Egypt symbolically. As I told you, we have to start to live symbolically. And then I was warmed up by the sun, and all of a sudden a cloud came up, and it reminded me of what Jung said. You know, Jung said, when clouds come up and come before the sun, the clouds don't want to get on my nerves with that, but they are just a fact that they are by the wind transported in front of the sun, and I have to accept how the clouds behave, and I cannot say, damned cloud, why don't you go away now? So I just was reminded of that. I was very grateful, and I was happy because soon afterwards the wind blew away the clouds again, and I was back in the sun, and very grateful. So you see, dreams are something enigmatic from nature, and we are not going to have a closed theory about it. But what Jung then found out in his lifelong research about dreams, and you know, he wrote this article in 1945. He was already, you know, something way 60 something, you know, 60 years old he was when he wrote this article. So he had a lot of experience as a psychiatrist, as working with all these clients. And he came to the conclusion already earlier, of course, but he confirmed that all through his life, that dreams from the unconscious compensate the unconscious. They just compensate one-sidedness of consciousness. And I can only confirm, you know, through all my life, I told you I was guided by my dreams. And I can also give you a consoling information that when I went to the Orient, to India and Japan and East Asia and all that, I was not guided yet by the dreams. I was just by the instincts, by my, I don't know, by my quest for truth. I was going to the East, and I found then what I was looking for in India and East Asia. Do you know where I found it? When I came back to Switzerland after 13 months of traveling, I was studying at AETH, Agriculture and Sanskrit. And in Sanskrit class, I found guidance by other students who were there. And one of these other students who was there was a Japanese professor of religious science from Santa Barbara. And when I asked him how, what are you doing? He said, well, I just received a grant from my university to study young psychology live in Zurich and to do all that study that is required to receive a diploma as an analyst. And now it was in the summer semester. Now he said, this springtime, I could finish my diploma at the Young Institute. I'm now an analyst, and my grant goes up to autumn. I have half a year where they are going to pay for my me and my family that I can stay still till autumn in Switzerland. And I am now doing the best out of my time. I study again Sanskrit as I used to do as a student. I study again what I can do for my teaching in Santa Barbara. And then at one point he said, well, I am also interested. When I told him my story, he said, well, I would really love to know what is a man like you who was on this quest to India and East Asia. What does a man like you dream? What are you dreaming? And he said, well, I am a qualified analyst now. You don't have to pay me any money, but I would just love to hear your dreams. So said, well, that's very nice. And I was a student with very little money. He said, you don't have to pay me anything. We have Sanskrit class from 11 to 12 o'clock in the morning. And we can have a sandwich afterwards for lunch. And then we look at your dreams. You don't have to pay me. So I realized, oh my God, what I was looking for in India and East Asia to get orientation, I got in the seminar of Indiology, who was just 500 meters away from the gymnasium where I got my Matura. And there we were looking at my dreams, and I had to say, oh my God, it is just closer than close. I just have to look inside. That is what I have to do. And then that is where I get my guidelines. So I got really the compensation of my quest, what I was trying to grab outside, to get outside as orientation, I got finally from inside, because I realized all these Europeans who were aping the yogis in India, who were aping Zen Buddhists in Japan, they were not convincing personalities. I felt, oh, that is not really what I am looking for. I was rather happy that I was then afterwards having my training in agriculture. I had to work on a farm first to get qualified to study agriculture. I had to do all these down-to-earth things, and I was most grateful to have that. And so I could see dreams, to look inside was really what I was looking for. And now when we look inside, we are discovering something like C.G. Jung was discovering also. And he was discovering something that he named the other as the collective unconscious or the objective psyche. This collective unconscious was discovered by C.G. Jung on the basis of a dream he had himself. Now look at that. I there was a lady in Los Angeles who, a very dear friend of mine, and she came also to Egypt. We were traveling together on a block course for Americans. I was a tour guide at that time, and this lady was asking then an artist to make paintings of this dream that Jung was having, because Jung is telling this dream in his books, Memories, Dreams, Reflections. As far as I know, it is right in there. Anyway, he reports this dream that was opening his eyes, and in this dream he saw first a house with a saloon, the saloon as a living room, so to speak. And then he came in this dream to the ground floor, more the personal unconscious. And then when he came further down, this artist just tried to visualize what Jung saw, but it's of course just as the artist was thinking. He came down to a Roman cellar, as Jung says. And then there was an opening in this Roman cellar. He could find steps down to the Neolithic place where he saw the bones of our ancestors of Neolithic times. So that is the inner archaeology. And you know that Jung, in the early stages of his life, he once wanted to become an archaeologist himself. And he became an archaeologist, but it is the inner archaeology that we are looking for, and that he was looking for. So you can see that is the second now. And now we continue. And we continue with a picture of this article that Jung was giving a whole page with this. With all these 9 pictures. They are they are depicting the creation of this order of the creation of the. It's a Cartesian Kartäuser, the monks of the Kartäuser, who were founded by Saint Bruno. And here in the center you see Saint Bruno, who had a dream. And he took his dream so serious, and the bishop, who was also involved in this, he had also a dream. And these dreams were leading to the creation. Here you see the bishop, who is also having a dream, and you see the bishop here down below. He had these 7 dreams. 2, 4, 6. He saw 7 dreams, and then where these 7 dreams came to the earth, Saint Bruno was creating the monastery of the Cartesians, and this is the chapel, was the house of God, was created on the basis of dreams. And so Jung was bringing this central image to our attention, but it was shoveled away in an unfortunate way in the collected works. And I am hoping that we can publish one day this article together with these pictures and with a commentary why these pictures are so important. Now we continue. I hope you are still with me. I see all the blackness coming up.
No, we are here.
Well, it's nice to see once in a while a face coming back again. I'm very, very happy about that. So we come now to the understanding of dreams. And are you still with me for this 3rd chapter?
Yes,
Is it
sure.
okay to continue a little bit?
Yes, we are.
Yes,
Okay.
sure.
Good. Now, you see the first point, humans tried since ages to look for their possible meaning. You remember the Pharaoh, the dreams in pharaonic time. And it is the great merit of Sigmund Freud, as you can see, sorry, I am jumping ahead. It's the great merit of Sigmund Freud to reintroduce the dream work into modern science right in the year 1900. It was really a year where in the same year quantum mechanics was also published by Planck. And so you see it goes hand in hand, synchronicity, matter and psyche met in the year 1900. And Sigmund Freud named the origin of dreams the subconscious as place of all rejected, place of all what is not acceptable. And Sigmund Freud considered dream symbols as sexual signs. He said when you dream of a cigar, that is a phallus, that is an erected penis. And if you dream of a church tower, of a minara, of a minaret, then that is a sexual symbol also. That is, of course, a shortcut because, a cigar is not a minara or is not a church tower. A cigar is a cigar. And even Freud said sometimes a cigar is really a cigar. And but you can see what makes all the difference is what Jung then wrote in 1912. He wrote his book that is today under the title The Symbols of Transformation. And Jung realized the importance of symbols, and I cannot emphasize that enough, because Jung's direct approach to the dream symbols was essential to understand dreams in a greater context. And then, as Jung also writes in this article, you collect the context first with the personal and non-personal associations, and we circumambulate the non-personal associations that Jung names amplifications. Now I would like to illustrate this to you. Here you have this illustration. You see a dream in the center. That is the unknown of the, we simply don't know what the dream is saying. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4 symbols in this dream. And we try to find personal associations that are personal associations here, or amplifications that is non-personal associations, because, for instance, the fire is has a personal association because the house of my parents burnt down. That could be a personal association. And the fire of destruction, that is an amplification because it's all over the world. Fires can be warming and enlightening or destructive. So you see, that is how Jung tried to approach. And we go back now to the dreams. We have each dream has a subjective or an objective level. That means it can be an inner theater. When I dream of Hitler, that doesn't mean that I am Hitler now, but I have something inside that could be as possessed by, as Hitler was a possessed flat painter. I could be also an inflated being as destructive as Hitler, or there is an objective level. If I dream of Egypt, it could mean something that I have to go to. And I, as you can see, I went over 100 times to your wonderful country. And then the next thing is very important, that for each dream, we have to realize it is when I make an interpretation, it is a hypothesis. And if I have a hypothesis that I am such a devil as Hitler if I dream of Hitler, then it is a hypothesis that has to be countered by a counter hypothesis, by a second hypothesis that says, well, it could mean as well something entirely different on an objective level or an objective. You know, my English is not so easy. Sometimes I'm getting tired. I'm looking forward to our break, but I am confident that we are going to make it very soon now. So you see, hypothesis and counter hypothesis are important, and details come also in my book. I have written a book on the interpretation, picture interpretation according to C.G. Jung. And if you get this book, Picture Interpretation According to C.G. Jung and just C.G. Jung, then you will find the art of picture interpretation that is exactly the same as the art of dream interpretation. So you find much more detailed knowledge there. And I can recommend, and with this I will open then the break, because you hear the bell is always reminding me when I have to stop. I have a church tower right in front of me here. So Jung's book, Man and His Symbols, is highly recommendable because it is written for not for psychiatrists, but it's written for lay people. And I hope that one day it is also appearing in Arabic. I know that Dr. Alia has the great merit of having translated the book of Jung, Memories, Dreams, Reflections, and that there was a highly important cultural leap that Dr. Alia could make for the Arabic-speaking world. And I hope that Jung's book, Man and His Symbols, will soon be also appearing in Arabic, because it has two articles that you have to read. The first part is the Jung on dreams and dream interpretation, that you will find his master's voice. You know, I am just trying to be the transformer for the Jung. Jung was the great master, and there you can really hear his master's voice. And the second article is written by Dr. von Franz, also about dreams, and you will find further information. And with this, we have the first part of our contribution today realized. I think we have now deserved a break. I hope you are still alive. I don't see you all, but I am confident that you might be a little bit inspired by Jung's article on the nature of dreams.